It's honestly, it's just one of those things that you just get really comfortable with who you know who you are by the time you get to your early mid 50s, like 52, 53. I know who I am. I know what I do. I know how I do it. And I know that I can communicate that to you. Does that make sense?
And it's also not your responsibility if somebody doesn't respond the way, like in a certain way.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I'm like, literally,
Well, I'm really
like nothing matters to anybody else. People are not thinking about you as much as you do.
Yeah.
Like, they really don't care.
Well, good morning, John, Kristen, Mina, Maria, Joanna, and Cherie. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to do a mastermind today. I've got a couple of things I'm going to hit first, announcements and some things that you guys need to know about. I guess I'll leave the door open for now because Jimmy's coming back in. So let me hit my announcements real quick. Core value today is going to tie into our mastermind. So we are deeply committed to the peace and prosperity of the cities we do business in. We love our community and want to see everything we do impacted in a positive way. As a team, we talk about leaving the city we work in better than we found it, pouring into it, and not taking from it. So part of the things that we're going to talk about today is community involvement, being the mayor of your own town, your sphere of influence, and the way that you post things. Now, we're all learning, even though Danielle's probably one of our, and Taja and Holly are three of our better posting agents. I think they're always learning about what's better, what works, what doesn't. And it's constantly evolving because it depends on what the trend is. So I'm not a poster. You guys know that. I post videos when I'm doing a listing, and that's pretty much the only time you're going to see me on social media unless you see it from Misty. That's the bottom line. Announcements. Name badges are now available. I wore mine today so you could see it. Let me put it on the video so that people can see it. If you'd like a name badge, if we order them as in bulk, like 10 or so, they're around $15. So if you'd like one, just text me, Slack me, call me, email me, smoke signal, whatever, get in touch, and I will get us set up for that. The signs are on order. If you ordered a sign, I need to let you know that it was more expensive for us to put the rider on top than it was to have the rider on the bottom. I don't know why, but it costs about $30 more to put the rider on the top. So if you ordered a sign, there's going to be a small adjustment. I'm trying to negotiate that down some, but just be aware of that. The way we're going to do the billing on the signs is if you ordered a sign, you're going to get a bill from Rachel. The office is paying for the signs, and then it'll be on your office bill. I want to encourage you, if you don't have your credit card set up on auto draft with Rachel, please do so. It'll make it so much easier for you and for us, because we're trying to make sure that we stay in business and provide the services that we provide to you. Number 3, when you list on MLS, I should not be your supervisor. Jimmy should. So if you're listing a home and it gets to the supervisor part, Jimmy is your supervisor. He's the brokerage director.
Jimmy, what's your license number? Because there's 4 Jimmy Williams.
0699095.
Dang, Brian. Holy crap.
I was like guessing, and I was like, I'm not going to check to find this, so I just write it.
Yeah.
That's fine. It doesn't hurt that I'm there, but officially, Jimmy is the director.
Okay, I guess it's like I'm not going through it.
That way, if MLS calls me about something, I'm gonna be like, my agent did everything right.
Yes.
So you can screw yourself.
Okay, can I actually tell you, I was talking to another agent the other day, and this is just a quick brag on 6th Ave. And they were talking about how they left their last brokerage because they felt like their broker didn't have their back. And I was like, let me just say, I could be totally in the wrong.
Yeah.
And my people have my back. We'll have a conversation about it later.
Yeah.
But like to anyone else that is not in our house, we can do that wrong. And there is value in that. So I'm just like,
I like it. We're into now.
Oh yeah.
it's just
It's an attitude of you don't mess with. Sorry, I was gonna say you don't fuck with our people.
Yeah.
Like, you don't mess with our people.
But
Like,
you
that's
don't, and you know, we're a family. And
Yeah, well, I will go ahead since it is your birthday.
Oh yeah.
It is your birthday, and I'll be an extension of what Danielle said, is because some big recruiter for Monument,
Okay.
is that what it is? Called me and she was like, "Hey, I follow you on social media. You're fantastic. Your business partner's fantastic." She's like, "I really want to take you to lunch." And I was like, "Well, I'm sorry." She was like, "For what?" She's like, "It's just lunch. Like, I just want to hear your views and how you do business." And I was like, so I'm like, I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, literally, like, I know my people and I know what they'll put up with from me. And like, I know how they have my back, and like, I'm just not recruitable.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, I want to hear about
They
this."
don't
And
like
I'm
when you don't give them time. They
I'm
like,
They're like, how about this? I take you to lunch.
Yeah.
you
Plot
got
twist.
Yeah. Come to a 6th Ave meeting at a lunch with
I
us
mean,
one
because some of
time.
these people, like, obviously they know me or us,
Uh-huh.
they know us from social media. So I always want to like develop a relationship with them. So I will answer the phone
Yeah.
or talk to them, but I'm like, you haven't met our mentors. You don't get it, do you?
Hey, let me give you a quick market update. Numbers came out yesterday or Monday, I guess. Fort Worth median price is down 1.6% year over year to 315K is the median house price in Fort Worth. Days on market 90. Closed sales are up 1.8% in Fort Worth. In Tarrant County, no change to the median value year over year in all of Tarrant County. Closed are up 0.5%. And we have 2.3 months of inventory. Parker County people, the median is up 10.2%. Days on market is up to 127 in Parker County. And we're at 4.5 months of inventory in Parker County. A couple more announcements and then we'll get to our stuff we got. Do you remember that you have to do code of ethics every 3 years?
Yes.
The new deadline, and it's the same for everyone. This is not like your license. It has to be done every 3 years. The deadline for this term, I think they call it, or cycle, is December the 31st of 2024. So you've got 10 months to get this done. 10 and a half. So code of ethics, and I've got a link on nar.realtor.com that you can go to, nar.realtor, that you can go and check if your code of ethics is done. It's required for every single agent that is a National Association of Realtors member. So if you
Can
get,
I ask you?
Yes.
Don't they sell it with the CE package?
a lot of them comes with.
Okay, because I did one a couple months ago.
GRI is 30 hours of brokerage education. That counts with the new SAE requirement. Let me see, commitment to excellence. If you guys ever get an email from me down in one of my icons, it says commitment to excellence. That is a program that you can take through NAR, and it satisfies the code of ethics training. And it gives you that you get to, once you finish the training, and I'm not going to lie, it's a lot. There's a lot of modules in there, but it's really cool stuff. You learn a couple things here and there about fair housing, the big issues that NAR deals with. It's not like you're taking a class on contracts. It deals with a much bigger thing, but that's something that you guys can take. It's called Commitment to Excellence. Any other questions? Any other hot topics we need to pop while we're here?
No, I was going to tell everybody, like, just while you're talking about things going on in the industry and all that jazz, code of ethics, NAR. There's a guy that I know and I follow, like, on Instagram, and I thought it would be valuable to share his things. Ricky Caruth, and I can, like, show you his profile or whatever. He has a great, no, and he's funny too. He has a great spin on all the drama that's going on with the lawsuits and all that. I feel like he just gives a great positive perspective about how we're going to pivot and shift with all this coming down the pike. So he's a big EXP. I don't think he's still at EXP. But I feel like he just gives great, I think he helps your mindset to pivot and not get discouraged by all this is going on and how all the cards are going to fall are actually going to be to the advantage of the people who are true professionals.
Well, and see, I'm hearing a lot of pitter patter on the web about that. They say the biggest plus that's going to come out of all this lawsuit stuff is the people that practice real estate and do it as a part-time job or a job, but they take their career seriously. You will be able to stay in business, and the people that don't do it correctly will be out of business because of this.
Yeah.
And I think that helps everybody at 6th Ave because everybody here is at least a part-time agent.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, I just think he gives it because, you just hear all this negative, and nobody gives a spin on it. I mean, they give the crappy version, like, go ahead, get out of the business, like that we aren't going to survive this. He gets a great one. And he actually interviewed the agent, or not the agent, the attorney that was on the prosecuting side.
Oh, really?
of the lawsuit.
Okay.
It's like he challenged him.
Put that in
He's like,
Slack.
Step up. Yeah. And so I just feel like following him kind of gives you great perspective of like, yeah, we are going to survive this.
Okay.
Like, we're going to be better.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you want to share that with me?
Okay, well, the one I sent you the other day
Mhm.
is for next week.
Okay.
So this is different. This was just a mastermind because I thought we were teaching the other stuff next week.
Yeah, this is Mastermind.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to share that with me? And then I can,
Sure, I just wanted to make sure we were on.
yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um,
Yeah, if share that with me, and then I'll share it with
Okay.
the group, so it'll be on.
Share it on. Well,
Just send it to Brian's at 6,
can I just add you to it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
and then I'll get a message that it's there, and then I'll share that with everybody so that everybody can see it. There it is.
So we'll go over social media stuff next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let me broadcast this. And pardon me while I stand up and make my. Working on a different screen is always fun. All right. So Taja and Holly and Taja are going to go over a couple of things with us today. This is about being mayor of your town. So ladies, it's your floor.
Okay. Well, okay. So this is like a concept that's come up many, many times. Like, Holly and I do a lot of things that we try to gear towards this. This is the Tom Ferry concept of sort of being the mayor of the town, being a resource for everyone that's kind of in the know. Like, you know what's going on in your town, you know what's going on in the real estate market, you know what's going on in your neighborhoods, and you're a resource for everyone. And so there's many ways to break that down, right? That's being a part of, socially, serving on a board, community, anything like that. So over the years, I have done an extensive amount of being the mayor of my town. I guess one of the reason we wanted to mastermind it and kind of bring it up is, does it bring true value? Do you get your return on your investment? Because I'm real extra, if I could say, and like I will head something up. Like if there's a spring carnival that needs to be thrown, well, I'm dumb enough to be like, okay, I'll do it. And that's been one of my major complaints, is being very involved and people being very dependent on my actions and my follow through, and that not creating the return on the investment. Like, yes, you want to serve a community. Yes, you want to be involved. Yes, you want to be a resource to people so you can build relationships in your community. But what does that truly look like, and how does it benefit your business?
And we had to reevaluate that over the
Yeah.
years. Like we really were doing stuff and we're like, okay, is this truly bringing value? Maybe yes, maybe no. But then some of it's just good. Just it's good.
Just
it
to
may not
be a
add,
good human.
yeah, it may not give you return or anything, but it's just good to be involved, good to do this, good to do that.
Because it's just like little silly things. We have done blood drives in our community. We do city events. I joined. We're a part of the Decatur Chamber. We're part of Parker County. They're rebranding Parker County Chamber and things like that. So people kind of know us, and we know what's going on in town, and we know who to connect with if we need to, answer a question and things like that. But it does impose negatives, I will say, that you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the community or things like that, and it doesn't pay off. Things that I have received, like positive accolades that I have received from people, is like me, walking into one of the boys' basketball games, and one of the well-known doctor's wives in the area that I live in is like, hey, come here, ask Tasha. She knows everybody in the community. Well, that is so far from the truth. I don't, but I'll just go dig until I find the answer. So I think we just wanted to kind of talk about this because obviously we are signed up to do events here in the next 6 months. We, are contemplating putting, the club sign that we put more in place. We do client events and things like that. We just really wanted to kind of put our heads together and gear ourselves to be more in the spotlight. Some of it's it's just great social media. It's great social media for me to be out in the community and people seeing that, I'm not just buying and selling houses, that I'm truly invested in what's going on where I live. So I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
and then
kind of my
another
thought
part of
process.
that for business wise is we talked about the client events. because that's still an important thing, and the community still sees that on your social media and things like that. I'm like, oh, I want to be a client of hers, so I want to be able to do that kind of stuff, you know. And we did list some of the stuff that we did. We have a client event at least 2 times a year.
Next time we're giving out free tattoos.
Yeah, certainly. That would be I'll down for that.
My clients are generous. It's like happy hour and flash tattoos.
Yeah.
That would get my
that's
name
good.
loud.
Yeah. And you
Most
know,
of mine too.
Yeah.
we try to like make it to where, okay, we're gonna just focus on the adults. We're gonna make it family friendly. We're gonna, you know, do all this stuff. So, you know, some of the things we've done ice cream social that melts before we knew melts was 6 out thing. But we utilize this event that utilize what 6 Ab does and do the house shows. You know, invite your clients to that. Show the social media on that. You know,
Because I mean, like our party on the patio in November, we had what, 86 people there.
yeah,
I mean, it was, and I mean, people were like, "This is like cool. Like this is the coolest thing we've like. This is the coolest thing. Like, well, I've never heard of a realtor doing this before.
Yeah.
You know, so they love it. I think it's just trying to focus on, you know, when you plan these community events, when you do these client events, what's the follow-up? What should that look like? I mean, the before, I think we do really well at posting and creating content and, you know, hype and all that. But what's the follow-up? Because I mean, I did the last party on the patio we did in November. I mean, I legitimately got 2 leads from it, like walking out that night.
Yep.
So I mean, it does help.
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll let y'all.
I mean, what are y'all kind of like our community, and just I'll ask you this, like, what are y'all's community involvement? Like you said, we did blood drives. The other thing we're trying to do, and I know you've been doing it, is the spotlights of businesses.
Oh, I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
great point.
another great thing. So being going back to the being made over town, I mean, doing the business spotlights, knowing the local news, being involved in the chambers, being involved in the ISDs, like those are all good things, and putting it out there on your social media and sending that information to your client. Just like the Brian Buchanan thing, adding value. So
I do think it's important. Just, I mean, obviously you want to do these things so that you build a business and you support your family or yourself or whatever your goals are. But it is important to support your community, and if you expect them to give you business as well.
One thing that I think that you've got to remember that, like you said, 86 people showed up to the party on the patio. So out of that 86 people, they all know at least 15 people.
Correct.
So an 86 person turnout is what, almost 1,000 people that heard about that event.
Right.
Now, whether they attended or not, saw pictures or not, they heard about it from someone. Or where were you last night? Oh, we went to this party on the patio with these agents, realtors that I don't know, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
And it's just that name.
Cops called 3 times.
that's it. No big deal.
Do what now?
We
Yeah,
didn't,
the cops called 3
we
times.
didn't know where. Well, he wasn't able to make it. But we're like, where's Jimmy when you need him?
Cassie, red and blues again. I'm like, here we go.
Do it, past life. Something.
So don't call me or she's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got in here, you kind of have gone through the sponsors. What did your sponsors? Okay, so a sponsor, obviously, they're donating $250, $300, $500, whatever the case may be. What benefit did they receive from the party on the patio?
Well, and I do feel like that's something that we do need to work on when we ask their involvement in those things, because, you know, I mean, it's not a secret right now that everybody is scraping for marketing dollars.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was a huge struggle back when we were planning this, is people were like, hey, like, we want to be involved, but like, this is all we can do. Or, hey, we want to be involved, but we've already committed enough this year. Like, you're going to have to, you know, do it next year.
And we did get, for our party on the patio, we were actually
Yeah,
a little surprised by some of our vendors, our sponsors that are normally like, yeah, let's go. They were like, yeah, we can't do it, or I can only do this. And so we had to scale back even what we wanted to do and adjust, but we were able to do it. But yeah, I mean, we did obviously spotlight them. We spotlight them at the event. We, you know, we allow them to bring whatever merch, whatever, anything that they want. And then a lot of times if it's smaller, it was just different for this one. We allow them to say something, or, you know, at least, but they interact with our clients. They're there.
Yeah, I do feel like if I you know, when, not if, we do another like party on the patio or something like that, I do feel like the social media content probably needs to be much more involved.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, if Goosehead is going to sponsor, we need to have them come in the office, you know, on a Wednesday morning, record a video like, hey, catch us out here. We're your preferred, whatever. Because I do feel like we lacked a little bit in that department where we could have like given them a little more hype.
Yeah.
One thing I was gonna, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna just say, like, idea wise, and this I think also gets involvement. So like especially for a insurance agency or a home warranty sponsor, are they actually coming to the event or are
Yeah.
they just
Yes.
so what I think would be really cool, and I'm not gonna ever host an event, so I just am not, but would be like at their tables or whatever, is that you have like a raffle side up. So it's like if somebody lets your insurance agent shop there, just shop the insurance, doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it enters them to win something.
Yeah.
Or like even with the home warranty, if you purchase a home warranty tonight, it's X amount of dollars off or whatever. Because a lot of people, and people don't know the value of a home warranty. Like my home warranty has saved my butt like more than once.
Right.
And so that I think too incentivizes people to actually engage with your sponsors.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
So
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a great
Because I
idea.
think that you've got to get them involved in the event,
Yeah.
not just showing up.
and then shopping around doesn't like especially for insurance. Shopping insurance doesn't hurt anything. Like it's not, you're not committed. It doesn't, you have to run a credit score, you know. It's just like, hey, this is where we live. This is how old my house is. Fill out a form, and the insurance agent can call them back after the event.
Right.
And
I think that's a great idea.
whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I love it.
On page 2, you've got community involvement. Now, you guys did the blood drive there at the City Hall
Yes.
in Hudson Oaks
Yes.
a couple of times last year.
Yep.
And I know that you had some of your people come through. What was your turnout numbers? What do you think that?
So that's one thing we've kind of like
Yeah, I
gone
mean,
back and
we've
forth
done
on.
some blood drives that have been like, we filled all the spots, everybody shows up. This is just me being a brat. But like, I'm a huge advocate of blood donations. It's like, it's a thing for me. Like it's a near and dear, like, you know, life experience for me. But you know, a lot of people don't like to give blood. So we kind of struggle with that because for me, like it's a why. It means something to me, but at the same time, and it's just like it is like really easy to be involved in that.
Yeah.
I mean, like they come, they do, they set up, they provide, and there's not a lot that you have to do. You have to bring warm bodies in that are willing to give blood. But
So you didn't see the traffic as high as what you've seen on other events.
actually in the past, well, the last one we did, no, it did not turn out well.
The one we went to Decatur, so this is kind of what we put. Find a high traffic, like anything that community wise, a high traffic time, like voting.
Yeah.
When we did it in Decatur, it was a voting day.
So
So there
that's-
was people
yeah.
in and out all day because they were at the city hall
Yeah.
voting.
Yeah.
So that would be a
And
recommendation.
I will say I met with the City of Hudson Oaks marketing director last week, and that was something we were talking about is trying to tie in more of these charitable
Yeah.
events and things like that with big city events.
Mhm.
So just
Well, now thinking about here, like all things, so there are some restrictions for the blood drive, but like you have to have a public bathroom for people to use, and it has to be within 100 feet of the
Mhm.
bus, I think, and then there has to be plenty of parking. And I'm thinking like we could maybe even try to do it here because they could park on the street, I think, and then we could use our bathroom. I mean, I think we could make it a 6th Ave thing too, like
Okay.
if we wanted to. And there's
So
quite a
we
few
could
people.
potentially do it. Parents, coffee shop.
Yeah.
yeah, you have to have a parking
Yeah,
spot.
but I'm just saying, like, there's parking
Huge
along the
parking
street,
lot.
there's parking, I don't know if we can use JPS's parking, but I'm just saying, like, I was, when we were talking about this, I was thinking about that, we could maybe try to do it here at the office, and that could benefit all of us, and we can invite anybody, you know, that works down here, clients down here, 6th Ave, construction and design, people, I mean, like, so, I don't know, that was just a thought on a side note, but yeah.
Okay.
So doing high traffic voting or city events would be more beneficial on that.
Okay, and so what do you guys, and Danielle, you're included in this, what are you seeing in your business spotlight? What is the goal of the business spotlight, number one, in a social media ad? And what can your partner, your business partner, expect to get out of that? Is it just exposure to your sphere? Is that all that they're getting?
I would say the one that we just did in
In Justin,
Justin,
yeah.
they shared our post on
Yeah.
their Facebook.
And somebody else did that just recently. What was our other thing that we did that It's another business. We did something and they share it.
I don't, so it's not only being the mayor of your town, you're showcasing things in your community, and it's just being a good neighbor, good business, and local businesses, partnering with local businesses, that type of thing. Plus it's exposure for yourself. If they share you on there, everybody's seeing, they're like, oh, let me click on Two Girls and Sold sign now and see what they're doing, so that, and, yeah, it's just being the mayor of your town. I think there's a combination of.
Well, I get a lot of business from our vendors.
Okay.
I mean, I get actual like real estate sales
Yeah.
from people like that.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the idea too, is yes, being the mayor of your town, but also being anything to start a conversation, right? So anything to say, hey, actually, where is that? Or I didn't know that was there, or, anything to start a conversation. I mean, to stay top of mind, stay relevant. And also like for me, because of the industry, Chris is in the industry of food and restaurant and beverage. And so I think it is important to highlight and honor the spaces that we're in. So like tomorrow we're going to the Visit Fort Worth meeting, and that'll be really cool because it's not something everybody gets to go to. So yeah, I think it is. It's obviously being top of mind and being the source where people go when they have questions, but also to support our
Community.
community. I mean, restaurants right now are closing left and right in Fort Worth. Like bars and restaurants that have been here for years are
Yeah.
closing down right now,
Yeah.
just because
No one's drinking.
nobody's drinking and nobody's eating and everybody's complaining. And so like Chris, they just sold Roy Pope. Like
They
because
sold what?
Roy Pope.
Okay.
It's like a restaurant grocery in the West Side because it's like it's not worth it anymore. So I think that too, of like supporting local businesses
Yeah.
is huge.
And I think small businesses, like that's what
Yeah.
we did is a small
Totally.
family owned business. And so like,
And it is. It's also to grow my sphere.
Yeah,
Like that's an
absolutely.
easy way for me to grow my sphere. And like I told y'all last week, I hired a social media manager. And so we're actually tracking growth and tracking those tangible things because you can only meet so many people in the real world.
well, yeah, because they don't search you. They're just searching local coffee shop.
Right.
You're going to come up in the feed.
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
Well, it sounds kind of silly, but like all the jazz that we've done in the city of Hudson Oaks, and me befriending the marketing director, like, so we go do these little Easter things or a blood drive here or there. Well, it's taken me, it's a couple of years to like build. She and I have great rapport, but now it's a trust thing. Like I had a meeting with her last week and she was like, the number one real estate team in Parker County was a pavilion sponsor for the moving forward. They won't pay the city the $5,000 still 8 months later. And so like for me, like shoe in, I've always showed up. I've always done what I needed to do. I've always followed up. I've always been, very diligent about my relationship with them and thanking them and dropping off gifts. Well, guess what? She's the marketing director for the city of Hudson Oaks. When she hears real estate, my name rolls off her tongue.
Mhm.
So for me, those little silly going and doing Santa Claus or whatever, that network, like I saw the mayor last week and all that, like, and they know who you are. They know that you're very committed to the community and you do things and your follow-up and your follow-through are impeccable. Well, guess what? You become that person. Because I died when they told me last week, oh yeah, she hasn't paid us for the big report. And I'm thinking, this lady walks around like she's a god.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, I was laughing with them last week when I was having a meeting. I was like, Holly would have had a heart attack if we would have gone to that not paid for it.
Yeah.
She would die before that would
So
happen.
do you think that I see things on social media where, an agent, a realtor, a friend of mine, former colleague goes to a restaurant and does a quick spin around and says, hey, this is a place that I like to go eat. This is really cool. They've got this, this, and this. Do you think that's beneficial to everyone, to the shop owner? Do you get permission to do that before you do it? What are the little tick boxes that you
So
look
we
at?
don't really
I don't
get
think-
permission.
No, we don't get permission, but I always think it's a good thing to approach a
Yes,
manager or
which I
an
was
owner
gonna say.
because they're like, wow, you came over here today to like feature my business in
Yeah.
Fort Worth or
It's
Parker
a-
County.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I think-
as a person who used to be on the opposite side of this equation, it was any content that we
You
could
could
get
get, yeah.
was
absolutely.
like, of course, we're gonna share it, repost it, whatever. And it's a I mean, to my mind, it was always more impactful to have somebody else say this is
Oh,
a
check
great
them out,
program
yeah,
than
yeah.
have us say it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
And it is, and that's what I did.
And
And
I-
I visit the one in Justin. That's what I did. They saw me videoing, and I'm like, I'm just gonna get some social media content. I was like, free marketing for you guys, you know. And they were
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. They didn't really even say anything. They was like, okay, great, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then we saw hours later that they shared it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
And I think another reason for these social highlights, local highlights, restaurants, whatever you do, community events, blah, blah, blah. Again, like I hate to make it about social media, but it is great to push it social media because like right now I'm working 3 deals from agents that are not from here. And you know what? Scotty Eames calls me from Salt Lake City. He's like, hey girl, I see you on Facebook. I'm always laughing at you. Of course, they always have to give me shit about my accent. Scotty's like, I love to hear your point. I'm like, ugh. But you know, and they're sending me, I mean, I've got buyers I'm working with right now because they see I'm all things DFW. I mean, I have people that'll call me and be like, hey, we're going to the DFW for a cheer competition. Where do we stay in Dallas?
Yes.
And I'm like, hey, cool, blah, blah, blah. So I become a local resource for this area, whether it's real estate related or not.
Okay. So
Um,
one thing I want to spend to everyone that's watching online or watching the video is that this is one of those things that we talked about time blocking. And if you have nothing to do, this is something you can go do. You're gonna eat, go to lunch, find a place, go do something for somebody else. Invest your time in your community. If you don't have anybody that you're working with, if you completed all your work, you've time blocked all your morning stuff, and you've got time to go to lunch with your wife, husband, spouse, partner,
Friend, whatever.
friend, son, daughter, whatever. Me, you can take me to lunch. I'll go. And we can do video content. Jimmy will be glad to go. Jimmy likes food. So, and today's his birthday.
I'm like, Valentine's Day, don't forget the flowers for the feed me.
But this is something that you can just take 30 minutes, go eat lunch, and while you're there, get some content, tag those people. It's a very simple way to grow your business, grow your sphere of influence, and be the mayor of your town. So you've got on your list here, local news, growth, grand opening, school news. Go into that a little bit. Tell me what you're thinking.
So I get more engagement on those, just something I share. Like if I see a news article or whatever, I'll read the news article, see if it applies to me, my community or whatever. And I share it. I mean, I did it twice in the past 2 weeks and I get way more engagement off of that than
I think
something
just
else.
announcements. and
So it's
things
just people
kind
like,
of makes it-
oh, we didn't know that. And I think it's in our like algorithms, like if we look at all that stuff. So somebody that may not be looking at that stuff all the time,
But
it may not pop up.
I do think it's probably something that we really like need to grow on as social media tracks where it is, like these grand openings. Like obviously we are part of the chamber.
Yeah.
We should probably go to ribbon cutting.
We should.
I haven't got that on my calendar yet. But just things like that. People love to know things that
Yeah.
not everybody else knows.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I cannot break people to let me know what's going on.
You know, there's an agent in North Fort Worth, and I'm not going to call his or her name, but every time that there's going to be a freeze or if there's going to be like a storm move through, that's what he's posting. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you, a very talented, very successful agent, put out, it's going to freeze tonight, and that was his whole post. It's going to freeze tonight. I watch if I want to know the weather, Brian St. Clair, if I want to know the weather, I'll watch the weather. I'll listen to, I'll flip over to news radio or whatever and listen and get the forecast. But that's what he posts. And a lot of stuff he posts is about the weather. I don't get it, but he's one of the most successful
We're
agents.
talking about it right now in our meeting.
Exactly.
That's the point. Like, it's ridiculous.
So apparently for him, it's just about being there, being in front of his people, because like I said, he or she is very successful at doing what they do.
I was going to say, and that's something that like we're going to have next week, like when we focus the mastermind on social media content, because we did go to a great class at the Baker firm last week. The influencer formula was excellent.
Yeah.
To sort of give just a better look is because my social media doesn't need to be her social media. Danielle and I are not going to do the same thing. We're not going to influence the same people. We're not going to have the same spheres. We're not going to attract the same people. Because really, honestly, I get the most content by being a smart aleck. Like people know my personality. They'll like, say something stupid or pop off or whatever.
Well, they want to see a little bit of conflict. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was gonna say. This is one thing that we've really, we'll talk more about this next week, but it kind of plays into this is reflect the person that you are. I mean, and that be genuine. So doing these community events and doing the business spotlights, I mean, that's genuine for me. That's genuine for Tasha. So we want to do those things. Yes, does it benefit our business? Probably. But that's just the people that we are. And so have it be a reflection of you.
Totally.
And so
I want to take a second and ask our online people, Maria, Cherie, Kristen, Joanna, Mina, John, if you guys have any comments, anything you'd like to say, any question you'd like to ask. Kristen, I know that you've got a lot of social media presence there. And so I'll open the floor up. If you guys want to say anything or ask anything, please turn your mic on and come on now. We've got about 5 minutes left in our session here.
Joanna did ask a question.
Oh,
earlier.
I didn't see it, Joanna. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Joanna?
It's in the messages.
Yeah, I think she asked what y'all budget a year. I think-
for marketing.
yeah.
We don't really have it, honestly. We don't have, and that's something that we don't really.
That's a Holly problem.
It is a Holly problem. We don't really budget. We know what we're going to do every year. We know just about how much it would cost us per event.
I will,
do.
yeah, and I will say if anybody wants to throw an event or a client event or whatever, and you have a budget, come to us because I'm telling you, we have done a lot of events with like no
No
money.
money.
Like we have never had like a huge marketing like budget for throwing events. We've just really always known how to get other people involved to help pay for things or really curb the events to be a nice event, but not to spend a great deal of money.
And she can tell you, I'm frugal, so.
And I'm not. I'm always like, what did you do? And I'm like, she was like, you have this much money.
So, yeah.
Would anybody else online like to jump in?
I mean, I would just say that like social media in general and not just posting like real estate stuff. Like I post a lot of stuff like my favorite restaurants and I mean, y'all kind of already mentioned this before, but making it to where if you go to a restaurant that's like hot and new, like record yourself or video yourself there, talk about your favorite dishes and stuff like that. And I can't tell you how many people like message me and say, hey, I'm heading to Fort Worth. Like, where do you suggest for dinner? Like, where do you suggest for brunch? And so when you kind of connect, like also knowing your city and knowing like restaurants and coffee shops and things like that, you automatically can correlate with Fort Worth real estate in general. So like, they're going to ask for both, you know, opinions when the time comes. So like, I just post it all.
Well, we were actually just talking about you, Kristen.
Yeah, we were.
Oh no.
Well, we're super jealous of your trip, but whatever. No, just how you like, you have your own niche too, like you're cooking. When you
Yeah.
go, you're like, again, showing a reflection of Kristen that correlates with her because they're like, oh, this really cool real estate agent also does these really cool cooking videos, you know, like the people are just staying top of mind.
She
So,
gets me to click.
yeah. So,
And
stuff like
posting like lifestyle stuff, like there's always this big, you know, conversation of do you keep your personal page personal and your business separate? And I'm like, look, my life, like my personal is my real estate. And so I never tell people to keep it separate. I don't think that's a good idea at all, but each teach their own. But like, I also create just like a lifestyle. Obviously I don't post everything, but people want to see your life too. People want to see like what you're doing throughout the day, like really engaging on your stories, like posting polls, posting things to keep people engaged. And like, I have a whole thing now that I'm back from vacation and I'm back to reality, unfortunately. Yesterday, I like did a whole content calendar and every single day I have engagement on my story. That way I can kind of capture leads as well. So like today I'll be posting like, if you could live anywhere in the DFW, where would you live? And so people are going to put that on the stories. And then I have all of these relocation like documents that I can easily share via PDF, and that way I can just get them rolling into my pipeline. So just asking like little questions, because people love talking about themselves. So if you ask for their opinion, they're going to give it. So making it to where it's like, hey, where would you live? Or like, what finishes do you like? Do you like this modern farmhouse, whatever, hope not? Or do you like this, you know, just asking for their opinions and then using that as lead generation capture instead of just, you know, not keeping it bland, like spicing it up, getting creative.
And I would say just if you're not heavy into social media, I think a great place to start to kind of see if you're making traction is stories.
Yeah.
Just because you can kind of observe what people are engaging. And I post a lot of just like beautiful bathrooms or kitchens or whatever. And I get a lot of like, oh my God, I love
That
this.
utility room we
Or,
posted
oh my
the other
God,
day,
you
yeah.
know, just like little things like that. But to my like daily disciplines, it's a great way for me to engage back with people like, oh yeah, you know, like it starts conversation.
Yeah. Jimmy, did you have a spin?
Yeah, so, well, anybody else online want to comment before I? Okay. So like, I'm just thinking like for Danielle, for you guys, for Kristen, like there's a lot of you guys are just phenomenal at social media and do it a lot. I think just a few like practical points. Like if I was starting out, and I already have a business, like I'm thinking, and I'm not even on social media, so it's not, I just know all the strategy and business behind it. But so I don't know, I'm trying to think of who's on here. Maria, or Joanna, do you post a lot?
I feel like Maria posts a lot.
Yeah.
I see a lot of Maria.
I feel a lot of Joanne's too.
Well,
Joanna's funny.
Go ahead, Maria.
I don't. I mean, if I post it because I'm either cooking or at volleyball, but those are typically two, or maybe just the open house that I'm at. But I still get shy on social media as far as posting stuff.
Yeah, so that's me as well. I hate posting on social media. I hate it like with a passion. But if I'm starting out as a real estate agent, there's a few things that I would like, pieces of advice is one, you post about things that you care about. And so one of those things has to be real estate, sadly. Even if you don't care about it, you're doing it for a job, so you have to post about it, like period. The second thing is post about your individual things you actually care about. If it's volleyball and cooking, then that's what you post about also. That incorporates the lifestyle. The second thing is you have to make social media posting a business. You have to make it a part of your business. Kristen, you said the famous words of content calendar, like every month at the end, the last week of the month, and it really should be like 2 weeks before the end of the month, there's a calendar you can download. There's a lot of free softwares, and Kristen, you could maybe even post it in the message bar. There's a lot of free softwares or cheap softwares that you can put a content calendar. And so the content calendar is just, hey, this is the day that I post or schedule to post or do social media posts. Like you have to have a plan and you have to make it part of your business model. You just have to. Like, so content calendar, do what you like. If you don't, you just post stuff that you're not interested in. Like if you're like, I'm going to post about this new restaurant, but you hate going to new restaurants and you cook at home every day, don't do that. Like, don't try to be someone else. So do it yourself individually. 2, schedule it with a content calendar. 3, make it a business and make it a principle, a discipline, and an effort that you're just going to have to do. And then 4, be patient. It will, what you post today, and it's all about consistency, but what you post today doesn't ever come through until a minimum of 3 months. Like it's like working out. It's like, you stop posting on social media and you lose 1 million followers. You start posting on social media, you gain 1 million followers in like 3 years. Like it's just how it goes. Patience is key, and don't, and then lastly, like practically, how much do you spend on all of your marketing? So buying leads, marketing, social media, whatever it is, it's like a good rule of thumb, just business is 10% of your revenue. So if you expect to make $100,000, then 10,000 of that, literally 10,000 of your revenue, not your net profit, not your gross profit, what you plan on making this year, 10% should go to social, like paying photographers or paying a content person. A really good, like if you take your own content and you pay someone to post it for you, it's anywhere from $600 to $800 a month. I got a lot of local recommendations. We have I guess California-based recommendation. Come talk to me. I can have someone post it for you, but it's $600 to $800 a month. That's pretty cheap, in my opinion. But if you don't have that money, then don't do it. But you should be spending 10% of your revenue on either buying leads through a lead source, Zillow, even though I think it's a waste of money.
Closed 2 deals off Realtor last year.
Yep,
So
there you go. Or social media or boosting social media. There's a lot of different strategies there, but how much do you spend? I always say 10% of revenue. That's pre-tax. That's a general, just a practical idea. If you make over 100, if you plan on making over 100, 150, really probably that 150, 125 mark, I would say it's time to, like, if you want to up your social media game, it's time to pay someone to start posting for you.
So on that note, and I don't know if this is something we talked about in the fall because I obviously wasn't here a lot.
Yeah.
When you, as agents, like, you know, you've been in the business for more than 2 years, one thing I would strongly recommend, I know we talked about it last week, is like what works, what doesn't, and what can I do differently?
Yeah.
And one thing that is beyond valuable is to go back at all of your closings and look at where your deals came from. Like Brian knows all of his deals are referrals.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not, where are they coming from? Because that gives you an idea of what worked, what didn't, and where to invest more in.
That's great.
And so, like, for me, I invested in realtor.com leads, and then the next year didn't.
Yeah.
Guess what? My sales dropped off. And I was like, well, what did I do differently? Oh, I stopped investing in my business. And then you build. Like, obviously, forward growth is the idea. So then you build and you say, okay, great. I did this last year. We're going to do this and this.
Yes.
And that was what the social media manager for me this year was. It was like, okay, great. This is the next building block because I know this is a huge opportunity in my business and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I need to find somebody that will.
Yeah.
So just.
That's great. That's great feedback.
Sorry.
Kind of to close it out, I would just say, I think the building thing is great. If you want, I'll say this, if you want to like sit down and talk marketing and sales strategy, marketing and sales is also a gift for clients. Like that's part of that bucket as well. Like gifts for clients, cards, birthday cards. The easiest client is a past client. Like that's the easiest client to get. It's like, I don't know, 80% easier to get a past client than a new client. But if you ever want to talk about just business strategy of marketing, literally just email me and we will set a time. It'll be great. Like I can talk about it for you, for your business. Like I'm not going to be like, here's a generic whatever, but like, let's get down, strategize and talk about it for your business. What is the next thing you add on the marketing piece? So if you want to do that, like that door is always open. So
And I tell her this all the time because again, I'm frugal. This spending money to make money. I hate that saying, but it is so true. I'm like, I don't want to, but
Well,
I mean, it
and
is
I
true.
think evaluating, I mean, obviously, Brian, I've been doing it for a long time, but like if I look back to like when I was doing Brian's open houses 1,000 years ago, like what worked for Facebook and it was like astounding if people engaged was posting the listing from Realtor. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now that is like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody really, and I mean, I do think that I try to weave in there old and new, you know, just to kind of keep content going because I don't have a content calendar and all of that, which I should. But I just feel like the transformation always like leveling up and being engaging. Cause I mean, what worked 18 months ago to mark today?
No.
Right.
It just
Our content calendar is right.
And it's always evolving.
my content.
But-
always
but-
like,
But I
think
think the final spin that I want to put on this, and then we'll call it a meeting, is that you've got to be not reactionary about what you do, but proactive about what you do. You've got to be intentional about every part of your business. And if you're not taking that into consideration about having a social media manager, a content manager, about what you're going to do, having a content calendar, I encourage you to do the time blocking we talked about in the fall and put it on your calendar of what you're going to do. I use a service that Ray calls me out on all the time, but there's a service called Q-U-U-U, that posts, it goes and grabs social media information and then pushes it to a service called Buffer that I pay $100 a year to, and it pushes all my social media. It's generic. I don't care. I just want there to be posts out there because I'm not going to do it. I am not going to I'm not going to go find out who the best plumber is or what paint color is important this year. I don't care, and I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to let somebody else I pay for the services. It costs me $200 a year, and there's posts out there that it looks like I'm doing something.
And I will say on my LinkedIn, I get decent engagement on my LinkedIn from going on 6Ab's website, going to the book and sharing that on my LinkedIn. Because for me, LinkedIn's a little bit different. I don't like to share all my content, obviously, but if like I just go pull something on and I'll read the article, I'll kind of jazz up, like a few sentences from the article, and I get pretty good engagement and connection on LinkedIn.
Good. Well, and so obviously the bottom line is there's multiple channels that everybody can be going down. Multiple ways to do this. There is no right way. There is really not a wrong way. It's just you need to be intentional and time blocking. Be smart about what you're doing. Obviously, Jimmy has a lot of insight to this because of what the companies that we run here at Sixth. So please reach out to us. I'm going to call that a meeting. Thank you all. Wait, what? Oh, same my kids. I send my calendar if y'all want.
Yes, please, Kristen.
Please, Kristen. You can put it into Slack on the guides channel. Also, I plan all of my posts on Meta Business Suite. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's good information. Thank you, Kristen, for that.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm gonna call it a meeting. Next week, we'll have Taj and Holly. We'll be back talking again about social media. We'll go a little bit deeper. On the 28th, I have Jana Seal is going to come in and do her listing presentation on the 28th. So everybody be here for that on the 28th at 10. In March, probably, I haven't decided if I'm going to do it before spring break or after spring break, but I'm going to give you my listing presentation. So I will be generating that. I will be generating one and showing you how that works for me, just so you can have a couple of different ways to look at it. Those that are taking Buffini's 100 Days to Greatness, you'll get to see Brian's listing presentation, and then you'll get to see how much mine is like his a little bit, because I've developed it from a lot of the things I learned in Big Producers. So, but I hope that's all helpful. Thank you guys for attending or watching on YouTube. See you later.
Peace. Peace. I know.
A-town down.
Mhm.